Hey guys, this is Patrick Skinner from Nutrition Nerds, and we're going to talk about a question that was brought up to us by Holly Bell, one of our clients, and she wanted us to answer a question about damage control of her macronutrients. Okay, so if you are following a macronutrient diet, this is really good information for you to follow. We're going to talk about prevention as well as the actual damage control. So first, we're going to start with this example of somebody that is on a 1600 calorie diet with 160 grams protein, 150 grams carbs, and 40 grams fat. Now, what we do to try to prevent that person from having to do actual damage control of their macronutrients, we try to split up their macronutrients depending on how many meals they have per day. So in this case, this person is going to have 4 meals. Okay, so it's already been split up into 4 ways right here. 10 grams for fat, 37.5 grams for carbs, and 40 grams for protein. Now, by no means is anyone going to be perfect. So how well is this effective if that means my lunch isn't necessarily going to always hit that number? My second meal or my dinner is not going to exactly hit those numbers. Nobody's perfect, so how is this helping? Well, this is actually more of a starter to help you progress through the day, okay? So let's say for breakfast, I try to hit these numbers, but by all means, I rarely hit the numbers on the dot. So let's say this is what I'm targeting, but in reality, I end up doing something like this. Okay, so let's say I have some oatmeal and eggs or whatever, and I end up having 12 grams fat, 45 grams carbs, and 32 grams protein. Okay, now that's the reality of the situation. Are these numbers still viable? Not really, actually. So what we're going to end up having to do is we're going to have to change what these numbers end up becoming throughout the rest of the day. So without even thinking about these numbers, let's find out what we have left after our first meal. So this is the target. This is actual. And then this is remainder. Okay? So we end up having 28 grams fat. We end up having 5 grams carbs, and then 128 grams of protein. Okay? So this is the remainder here, and this is what we're going to have left. This here ends up having to change for the next 3 meals. Okay? Now, how we do this is we end up taking what's the remainder and then dividing that by the meals left. Okay? So I've already eaten 1 meal for the day. That means I have 3 meals left. I take a look at the remainder and I divide it by 3. Okay? So because I'm not super savvy at mathematics, I'm going to go ahead and break out the phone just so you guys have an understanding where I'm getting my math from. Okay, so I have 9.3, so this changes here. Oops. Let's get rid of this. All right. 9.3 grams. Okay. 105. 105 divided by 3. 35 grams. And then 128 divided by 3 comes up to 42.6. So you see how that's working, guys? We're progressively changing our targets so that at the end of the day, we don't have a whole bunch of fat, whole bunch of carbs, or a whole bunch of protein, or vice versa, or even no food at all to eat for the rest of the day because we didn't balance our macronutrients throughout the day. Okay, so let's just do this one more time and give you guys an estimate of what it's going to look like by, let's say, the third meal. Okay, this is our target here. Let's find out our actual. This time, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Let's say we hit 8.3 just to round it back up. And then, let's do 30 and then 45. Okay? Okay, so then that was our lunch. And that's going to totally change our remainder for what's left. So we end up having to do this. Take the remainder minus what we ate. $19.7 5 minus 30 75, and then 128 minus 45 83. Okay, so now that is our new remainder. Okay, now let's do this one more time. Find out what is our third meal. Okay, so at this point now we only have 2 meals left. Let's divide that into 2 to find out what our new target goals are. 19.7 divided by 2. All right. Okay. 75 divided by 2 actually turns into our actual original target. 83 minus 4.6. Okay. So then now that is our new targets, and then we'll find out what our actual is, do it all over again. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Now we're going to actually talk about the actual damage control. Let's say we didn't do very well on the prevention this day. We woke up, we're in a rush, ended up eating breakfast, didn't see what the macronutrients were, and then ended up eating a lot more of one thing than we wanted to of the other. Okay? So let's say in Holly's instance, the example she gave us, she was traveling, grabbed a quick breakfast, and then when she looked at the macronutrients afterwards, she pretty much almost ate her entire day's worth of fat. So let's say she ate 35 grams fat for that day, but she only ate 20 grams carbs and 40 grams protein. Okay? So then that leaves her for the rest of the day with 5 grams fat, 130 grams carbs, and 120 grams protein. Okay. Now how this works is, in this case, we're going to have to make our carbs interchangeable with our fat just for today, okay? And this is damage control, where when we are using actual damage control, I don't expect everyone to be, willing to do this every single day. It doesn't work like that. You only want to do this to be able to meet your calories for the day, but at the same time try to stay within your protein margin as well. Your protein is going to be very, very important because of its level of thermogenesis. So in this case, the only two things that we're going to interchange is carbs for fat. Okay. Now, like I said, if you prevent well enough, you should only have to do this maybe once a month, or if you're doing competition prep, you should try to avoid this completely. But this is a good way to, as a learning curve, if you're trying to get used to a macronutrient diet, making the adjustments and then preventing them in the future. So let's say we already know in this case a single gram of carb, 1 gram equals 4 kcal. And then a single gram of fat equals 9 kcal. Okay? So just to get me through the day, I'm probably going to need an additional 15 grams of fat. Okay? So let's just go ahead and do the math. I need to do, let's see, I need to, in order for me to get 19 grams times 4, 15 grams times that by 9, that comes out to a total of 135 kcal. Okay? So then I go ahead and add this to what I have left for the rest of the day. Okay? But I need to make sure I subtract that from our carbohydrates. So how do I can't take 15 grams and expect that to work, because a single gram of fat has more calories. Then I need to make sure I get the exact same per calorie of the carbs. Okay? So because it's 135 calories and 1 gram of carb equals 4 calories, I simply divide that by 4, and I minus 33.75. I'm going to round that up to 34. And it comes out to 96. Okay? So now my new margins are, this is actually my new remainder for the day, and this comes out to 20 grams fat, 36 grams carbs, and 120 grams protein. Now, like I said, if you're trying to do a competition prep or anything, this is not recommended. You need to stay within your macronutrients as much as possible during a competition prep. Now, if you're just simply reverse dieting or you're just casually counting your macronutrients, this is a good way to stay within your macronutrient boundaries, but at the same time, you know, when you do have slip-ups, you're not preventing at a certain point, then, you know, this is a good way to damage control your macronutrients, keep you from going up and down crazy amounts in your weight gain or weight loss for the next day. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment at the bottom of the video, or go ahead and share this video as much as you want. I'd like to see as many questions as possible so we have more material to answer questions on. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.